Well, hello, vinyl community. Elliot here, Lazy Dogs Records, and I thought I'd do a show and tell. Hadn't done a video in a few weeks, and uh, didn't want to get out of practice. I guess you could say. This will be a show and tell. Now, show and tell sometimes criticized by people inside and outside the vinyl community, as they say, "Oh, all you're doing is holding up a record. I got this one. I got this one. I got this one," or you're holding up a record and then you're reading a couple of facts from Wikipedia or something like that. Uh, I will try to avoid both of those problems and say that I love show and tell. And I think most record collectors enjoy seeing what other people have collected. And most vinyl collectors enjoy showing what they've picked up. So it's a win-win as far as I'm concerned. I mean, you think back, kindergarten, first grade, show and tell was the highlight of your week. On Fridays, you got to do show and tell, and it was fun. Fun to see what the other kids had to show and tell about, and fun to do it yourself. So here we go, my show and tell. Recent records I've picked up, most, if not, I believe all of these online in one way or the other. Now, jazz is a music that I'm learning more and more about. Still, in very much in the learning, early learning phase. I don't think you ever quit learning, but in the early learning phase. So, from the Hoffman forums, I've been able to get some really good deals, especially deals on jazz records. And I was able to get 5 Blue Note, mostly classic series Blue Notes that had minor flaws in them that this person was ready to sell. Most of them had only been played once or twice, it appears. And I'll show you what I've got. I'll start with the 2 I've listened to. I always clean my records first, and I've got them all cleaned. And these are the first couple of those that I've listened to, and then I'll show the other 3. Herbie Nichols from Blue Note 5068, Volume 1, and 5069, Volume 2. These were, I believe it was 1954. These were 10-inch releases on Blue Note, which they combined to make one 12-inch record in the classic series. Really, really enjoyable. A blind buy, as I say. Didn't know anything about him, but these 5 records came in a bundle. You know, I got the good price part of it was because it was a bundle. But really like this. This is piano, bass, and drums. Art Blakey on the drums, and Herbie Nichols on the piano. Very, very enjoyable. Very enjoyable. Sounds really good. I like that simplistic 3-instrument setup. And this is the prophetic Herbie Nichols is actually the title. Really enjoyed that. Some of you may know a whole lot about him, and if you want to tell me about it in the comments, that will be great. And the other one that I've cleaned, this record was supposed to have a lot of cosmetic flaws on the vinyl. And I'll be honest with you, when I cleaned it, I looked at it closely, but not under a bright light, and I couldn't see those flaws. Superficial scuffs and marks and some discoloration. Didn't see it, and it did not in any way affect the playback at all. This is Inventions and Dimensions from Herbie Hancock. And let's see, Paul Chambers is on the bass, Willie Bobo, don't know him, on the drums, and so Martinez on the congos and bongos, and 5 different compositions on this one. I know I should take these out of the shrink wrap. I'm not shrink wrap, but out of the outer sleeve. But it's honestly too much trouble, and I'll try to get it where the glare doesn't affect it. And I'll show you the 3 that I got that I haven't played yet. Now, the problem on this Jackie McLean, Bluesnick, and Freddie Hubbard's on trumpet, and Jackie McLean, of course, alto sax. And Kenny Drew, I like him, he's on the piano. Doug Wilkins on the bass, and Pete LaRocca on the drums. The problem with this one is in the dead wax, a piece of the label has tore off when it was pressed and is embedded in the dead wax, a little chunk of the label. Guys, I haven't played this one yet, so I don't know for sure, but the guy said it didn't affect when it ran off. You know, it didn't affect the needle or anything like that. Seems to be under the surface there. But Jackie McLean, I've got several Jackie McLeans, and I like him. The drummer on that one was Pete LaRocca, and here is an album that he is the leader of, Bosra, and it's got Joe Henderson on tenor sax, Steve Kuhn on the piano, don't know him, Steve Swallow on the bass, and of course the leader, Peter LaRocca, on the drums. And this is looking forward to hearing what that one sounds like. And Judah Hip with Zoot Sims. Now I'm familiar with Zoot Sims. This is Blue Note 1530. An interesting cover label, or those books on the shelf maybe, I don't know. Jerry Lloyd is playing the trumpet, of course Zoot Sims on the tenor sax. Judah Hip is the pianist, and I like piano jazz. Ahmad Abdul Malik on the bass, and Ed Thigpen on the drums. Okay. So I'm really excited about those 5 Blue Note records that I've got. Looking forward to playing the rest of those. On the Hoffman forums, have been discussing McGuinn, Clark, and Hilman, those records they did post Birds, and so the discussion turned to Chris Hilman, who I'm very familiar with and very much enjoy his work, and we were talking about the post Birds solo work that he did, and to me the best ones are the 2 on Sugar Hill, Morning Sky, and I thought I had Desert Rose, but I did not, and didn't have in my collection. This is a Sugar Hill release. There you can see the Sugar Hill label. And it's not a totally acoustic album, and it's not a bluegrass album, both of which he does sometimes, but it's rootsy, bluegrass centered. The thing about the Sugar Hill label, Post was the owner of Sugar Hill Records in Durham, North Carolina, and Chris Hilman had done a couple of solos, I believe on Asylum. I may be wrong about the record label, and they were just slick, watered down. The same problem with the McGuinn, Clark, and Hilman records. They were California slick. They were overproduced, and they just didn't sound good, were kind of bland. The thing about Post at Sugar Hill is he told many of, if not all of his artists, he told Hilman, he says, I'll give you this budget. You go in the studio of your choice, and you bring me an album's worth of material, and I will release it on Sugar Hill Records. No pressure, no demands about making it commercial or anything like that. Just give me something you like. And that's just what he did on these 2 Sugar Hill records. And this is the second one, and I think this was from 84, yes. Al Perkins, the steel guitar player, is producing that, a member of Manassas, as was Chris Hilman. Lots of great artists playing on here with him. Herb Peterson, who he collaborated with a whole lot over the years. James Burton, former Elvis guitarist, is and also Ricky Nelson guitarist, is on here. Bernie Leadon from Flying Burrito Brothers, the Eagles, solo work, so on and so forth. J.D. M-A-N-E-S-S. He's a steel guitar player. His daughter is one of the Dixie Chicks. Byron Berline, the great fiddler's on here. Al Perkins is on here doing the dobro work. Former Elvis and Emmylou Harris player Glenn D. Harden is on the piano. Ron Tuff is on the drums. Now that name's familiar. Was he with the Burrito Brothers at one time, one configuration maybe? I'm not sure. But when I bought that, ordered that, when I realized I didn't have it, I also ordered four more very inexpensive records. I love to find good or great inexpensive records in good condition, and I picked up this one, Ian and Sylvia, and this is called Full Circle on MGM. I think this is around 68 or so, but I'm not sure. The great Canadian duo, and Ian Tyson wrote so many great songs, classics. And acapella gospel from Sweet Honey in the Rock. Now, this is on Flying Fish Records. Feeling something drawing me on. Something drawing me on. Yep. This is the label out of Chicago, Flying Fish. Another one of those labels that pretty much lets you do your thing, and they would produce it. And Rycter, this was an interesting pickup. This is a promo copy. Blue City was a movie I do not remember, but it starred a couple of stars from those teen movies back in the 80s. Ali Sheedy and Judd Nelson are in this, but this is a Rycter soundtrack. Lots of great players on this. Haven't listened to this one yet, but I've got it. On my agenda. I've got to clean these up. I haven't cleaned these. Bluegrass that I'm familiar with. I've got a couple of their albums already. Dry Branch Fire Squad, Good Neighbors and Friends. And this is on Rycter Records out of Massachusetts, one of those great independent labels. And I did a video a while back. I put a clickbait title on it. Don't buy Hackney diamonds. And boy, it worked. People just kept clicking on it. And in that, I said, don't buy that. Instead, spend your money that you would have spent on Hackney diamonds or some other Legacy Act recording, and go in and buy a bunch of inexpensive records of artists you haven't listened to, not familiar with, or just don't get the recognition that they already do. And of course, I got lots of great responses, and I try to respond to each person that did. But one person said he was going to buy Hackney diamonds, but here's somebody you ought to check out if you're looking for music that's unfamiliar at this point, something to discover. Daniel Bachman. This album is called Seven Pines. There he is, Daniel Bachman. This is a sealed new record I bought. Actually, it was recorded in 2012. He recommended another album that he did, but I said, well, I'll go along with it. I appreciate the recommendation, but I was able to get this for like $12, $11, something like that, and it's sealed new. Okay, as opposed to buying his most recent one, which would have been like $25, $28 that I didn't know I was familiar with. Didn't know whether I'd like him or not. Okay, I don't buy audiophile records normally, but got a good price on this, still sealed in the loose fitting outer wrap. Bill Withers, Still Bill. This is the only one of his early records I didn't already have, and so I'm looking forward to that. The Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab, and I don't know all the details about it, but I got this for $28. I would tell you $28, and the cheapest one I found on Discogs was $28 plus shipping and taxes and everything. So saved a little bit in getting that. I got that from a Hoffman Forum member, and spent some money on this one, brand new. Got it from their website. This is a brother duo of classic traditional country music act named the Malus Brothers. Lonely Street, Chris and Taylor. And I first became aware of them when they were, about 25 years ago, or 20 years ago. yeah, about 20 years ago, when they were in their teens. I think one of them's about 3 or 4 years older than the other, so they're like 14 and 17 or something like that. So I'm at a pig picking nearby at Long Farm, and they have carved down a niche. It's red vinyl. They have carved down a niche without getting commercial country airplay. They tour regularly and have seemed to be able, after years of working at it, to make it a full-time job. They don't have to maintain other jobs to keep it going. They tour all over the country. They tour, I think they tour in Europe, if I'm not mistaken. They used to, years ago when Merle Haggard was still alive, he liked them so much. For about 7 years, whenever Merle would go on a tour, he would bring them along to open his shows. So they've got the rep, or the masters like Merle Haggard really liked him and respect him. So I highly recommend you check out the Malus Brothers. This is the first time they put anything out on vinyl. Everything else has been CD. But Lonely Street, it's called. Okay. So those are some of the records I've picked up in recent weeks, and I hope you enjoyed seeing that. We'll run a little longer than I meant to, but let me just say, everybody remember to be kind to your neighbors, because folks, we are all neighbors. Take care.